act this week that brought him to attention. It's interesting that he wrote an art. He was involved in an article in the March 31st, 2015 Wall Street Journal, and he was quoted as saying, "If I saw a restaurant owner refuse to serve a gay couple, I wouldn't eat there anymore." This is the same governor who said if he was presented a bill that legalized discrimination against any person or group, he would veto it. However, he's also made statements in the past that contradict this. In 2000, Pence stated Congress should oppose any effort to recognize homosexuals as a discrete and insular minority, that they were not entitled to the protection of anti-discrimination laws similar to those extended to women and ethnic minorities. He also commented that homosexuals should not serve in the military. He said homosexuality would be incompatible with military service because the presence of homosexuals in the ranks weakens unit cohesion. And of course, he stated that repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell would have an impact on unit cohesion. And he also opposed 2009 Matthew Shepard Hate Crimes Act, stating that Obama would advance a radical social agenda, and said that pastors could be charged or be subject to intimidation by simply expressing a biblical worldview on the issue of homosexual behavior. So he's not a guy who likes the homosexuals. He also vehemently was against any same-sex marriage law being passed in Indiana. Big shocker there. But I think the Wolves in Sheep's Clothing act that he had early on in his career should show that this man can't be trusted to do anything more than play to the crowd in charge.
Come on, it's Czechoslovakia. We zip in, we pick them up, we zip right out again. We're not going to Moscow. It's Czechoslovakia. It's like going into Wisconsin.
Well, I got the shit kicked out of me in Wisconsin once. Forget it.
And I just want to give you one more example of why now we can definitely call Mr. Pence a conservative, which is that after the Supreme Court of the United States upheld the Affordable Care Act in June 28, 2012, he was quoted by his sources at a closed-door meeting as likening the ruling upholding the Democratic health care law to the September 11th terrorist acts. He immediately apologized for making this statement. This is the thing about these conservative possible candidates that we'll be seeing over the course of the next several months and well into 2016's beginning. They say some pretty wacko stuff. They're hauled in most of the time after saying this stuff by the more moderate conservatives, but for the most part, their agenda is completely right-wing to the extreme. So if you're considering Mr. Pence as a possible person you think might fit your idea of a president, well, one thing, you're not gay. So, okay. Another thing is, I think you're being led by the propaganda machine that is Fox News that can make anything sound good. And if anybody can make Mike Pence sound good, Fox News has done that. They have rallied along with the right about this bill, being very much in favor of this bill, as you would expect. Again, high corporate, has something to gain from the passing of these types of bills. It's not bad for business. It's just bad business. And corporations don't like lawsuits. Lawsuits cost money, cost them money. So when you're thinking, well, wouldn't this seem to be something that would be a negative for corporations? That people would be turned off by the fact that a Walmart or a Hobby Lobby can oppose things based on their religious beliefs? No, not at all. It gives them the right to discriminate by using their religious beliefs and stops frivolous lawsuits. And it's one thing these companies have learned is the biggest negative to their bottom line is frivolous lawsuits. So I again hope that you remember what Mike Pence has said in the past and what he's done here recently, and when he comes across as a possible person to vote for President of the United States, you veto him.
Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum. Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum.
In the morning, laughing happy fish heads. In the evening, floating in the soup.
Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum.
Ask a fish head anything you want to. They won't answer, they can't talk.
Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum.
I took a fish head out to see a movie. Didn't have to pay to get it in.
Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum.
They can't play baseball, they don't wear sweaters. They're not good dancers. They don't play drums.
Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum.
Roly-poly fish heads are never seen drinking cappuccino in Italian restaurants with Oriental women.
Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum. Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum. Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum. Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum. Yeah.
So a little personal insight to the world of Ken Woodward. I think every once in a while I should throw out some personal experiences of mine as they pertain to recent events. So, okay. I was in the military from 1983 to 1987. A 4.5 year stint. The extra 6-month vacation was well earned by doing some really stupid things and over enjoying the use of a certain beverage. Nonetheless, I spent 4.5 years in the service, stationed in Alameda, California. Of those who don't know where that's at, it's like a skip and hop jump from Oakland, California, which I'm sure you are aware of where that's at. Those of you who saw the earthquake that happened there during the World Series, I saw several things, places where I've been. The bridge that was collapsed, I have actually been over as a member of a bus patron. So just a little insight to the area that I'm well aware of. Never been to Alcatraz, should have, and I regret that. I have been to Chinatown and the wharf, Fisherman's Wharf. So I did frequent various areas of the area. Again, back to the military aspect of it. Where there are people, I get people now that come up to me and they do ask because they're curious. As you imagine these times, that don't ask, don't tell law kind of brings up some of the questions. I think they asked me, was I aware of anyone in the service whom I worked with that I may have thought was gay? And honestly, my memory is very foggy on that period of time in my life. As I said, I partook in on several occasions, a sip or two of the alcoholic beverage. So, if there was someone who was gay, I was certainly too busy worried more about other things than their particular nature. But there was one instance that does definitely fall forward in my head, besides an instance that I want to talk about somewhere down the road, but not this show because it doesn't pertain to lesbian and gay. It pertains more to weird idiots. 5,000 people on a ship, you're going to have those as well. We had one particular ship member who turned 21 while I was on board, and wanted, of course, us to be with him to celebrate his 21st birthday, and we did it in the most raucous, obvious way. We took him to San Francisco, and we went to a strip club. And I thought this was, a very good idea, and I really thought that, we were having a good time. He seemed a little detached by the circumstances. Hard for us to notice. As I said, we were having a very good time, and decided to take upon himself to take over the expedition, and take us to some other bars. He was interested in visiting on his 21st birthday. Well, it's his 21st birthday. You can't say no to the guy. Yeah, he's the one in charge. He's the boss. So we began to drive toward a more path that we were not familiar with, to another area of town we were not familiar with. But I wasn't for one familiar with San Francisco that well in the first place. We just went to the main, strip. We knew things where to go. So, and I think my fellow passengers with me were in the same boat. They had only visited very short areas of San Francisco, so they were not concerned at all about where location we were going to, and that was fine. So we stopped into a bar and walked into the bar, and I'm very perspectives. I can feel a vibe about any situation pretty quick. Comes in handy as a sailor, especially overseas. And I noticed immediately an amazing ratio of 100% male patrons. But maybe it's a slow night. I don't know. I myself, having had several beers, had to make a run for the restroom, and went in the restroom and did my business and was not interfered with, wasn't given any indication at all that anything was unusual. When I came out, though, my two fellow friends, while he was at the bar, took me aside and says, this is a gay bar. And I was taken aback a bit. I had never been in a gay bar. But then I immediately noticed that not only was the bar 100% a male, but some of the males were mingling amongst each other in a unorthodox fashion to me. So we needed to get our friend's attention that this was not cool. And we got him out of there and proceeded to another bar he said would be more and more comfortable with, which turned out to be another gay bar. Turns out, yes, our friend was obviously gay. In retrospect, I feel kind of bad, as we outed him basically after that. Thank you, Jake. And that was my only